We've been using the online conference software Zoom for our live online training for several years now, and it's great. And in these really tough times we're having at the moment, people more and more are using Zoom and similar solutions to engage with others online. And really sadly, a new phenomenon has developed called Zoom bombing. This is when people, for instance, as unwanted guests, invade or gatecrash your online meeting, and they disturb, they destroy, they behave completely inappropriately. They show pictures, they make awful insulting statements, they share files with inappropriate content, and so on. It is just wrong. Of course, if you're in a business, there's also the danger of an unwanted guest and cyber espionage when you show sensitive topics or discuss sensitive slides or things that are confidential in your meeting, and people shouldn't be in there looking at your slides, should they? Firstly, if you're a Zoom bomber, can you please stop doing this? I know you don't care what I say, but come on, it's a difficult time for all of us, and you are not helping. You are hurting. Everybody is trying to connect online to try and keep their businesses going, to help others, to teach others, to engage socially. And you're causing upset, you're causing damage, you're making social proximity really difficult at a time when we all need it. And it's frankly a brand or a type of cyberbullying, isn't it? So put your cyber skills to a much better use. Please do something more constructive. Anyway, here are 15 ideas for you to choose from, which you may want to try out to stop your Zoom meetings from being bombed in future. Firstly, create a unique meeting ID when you set up your meetings, especially for large or public meetings. If in doubt, do not use your personal meeting ID, your PMI, of your Zoom account. The more you use the same ID, the higher the likelihood someone unwanted will get hold of it and will join your meeting. Secondly, never share a meeting ID in a screenshot on social media. You're inviting people who may have the wrong intentions to try to join your meeting. This is, of course, especially true for recurring meetings and for your PMI. Thirdly, do not place links to Zoom meeting invitations with the meeting ID in your social media posts for the same reasons. Fourthly, use the password function. Make the password available only to those who have been invited, and of course do not place your password in a social media link or an email to your larger community list. Use the register function. That way everyone who wants to join has to register first, and you can see who's joined, and you have, of course, email addresses. Use the waiting room function, which you'll find under advanced settings. That way you can screen unwanted guests, and if in doubt, look at who's in the waiting room before you start, before you admit them. If you don't recognize them, keep them out. Once people are in the meeting, lock the meeting so nobody unwanted can get in afterwards. In your meeting, configure your screen sharing to host only. So only you as the host of the meeting can share your screen, so no one can show inappropriate images. Use the mute button. Place participants on mute all from the start, and if in doubt, keep a close control over who is allowed to unmute to avoid interruptions or inappropriate comments. Please keep an eye on what people write in the chat to avoid people sneaking in and writing inappropriate comments in your chat box. And if you're concerned about guests sharing inappropriate images and files, you can switch off file sharing in the chat too. Similarly, if you're concerned people will write inappropriate messages privately, that's also a function you can switch off in the chat. It's also possible to disable your unwanted guest's camera by clicking on the video icon next to their name. You can also click on the video of someone and put them on hold if you want to, if they start to behave inappropriately. And finally, if you don't recognize someone who's entered your Zoom meeting, or they won't say who they are, or if someone behaves inappropriately, you can, via participants, remove them from your meeting. The good news is, if you've done that, they can't get back in. I can't guarantee that these ideas will definitely prevent your Zoom meetings from being bombed. However, they will certainly serve as a deterrent.